Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, as always, is to pull out the really compelling insights from some fascinating sources, all for you. And today, we're embarking on, well, pretty unique intellectual adventure. We're weaving together philosophy, economics, and classic literature. You probably didn't see this one coming.
Uh-huh.
We're talking Karl Marx. Yes, that Marx and how he found this incredibly powerful reflection of his critiques of capitalism, but not in, dry economic texts.
Right, not where you'd expect.
Exactly. He found it in the vivid, dramatic, sometimes pretty brutal world of William Shakespeare. I mean, think about it. How could a play from the 17th century Timon of Athens connect so deeply with 19th century economic theory?
It seems unlikely on the surface.
It does. And maybe even more relevant for us right now. What does this strange intellectual pairing tell us about money in our own lives today? So we're taking a deep dive into Marx, money, and Shakespeare's Timon of Athens. It's this brilliant piece that looks at Marx's economic and philosophic manuscripts of 1844 through this really amazing literary lens. It's all about how human value gets, well, warped, and how our relationships change when money gets involved.
And it's really more than just Marx dropping a literary reference. What's so striking is that he wasn't just using a clever quote or an analogy. For Marx, Shakespeare wasn't just a great writer. He was actually providing proof.
Proof.
Yeah, like the raw, visceral, emotional core that really gave flesh and blood to Marx's arguments about how money alienates us. He saw Shakespeare as documenting a kind of social reality. And you might be surprised, actually, at how timeless these insights feel, how relevant they still are for understanding our own relationship with money right now, and how it shapes how we see worth in ourselves and in others.
That's a really strong claim. Literature as proof for economic theory. It makes you think, though, what exactly was Marx getting at? To really get why he saw Shakespeare as so crucial, we probably need to start with Marx's basic idea about money's power. This is back in his economic and philosophic manuscripts of 1844. He really pushes past the simple idea of money just being, a tool for exchange.
Just a neutral thing for buying and selling.
Right. Instead, he argues it's this alienating, transformative, and inversionary force. That's a key idea for him. It explains how our humanity, our relationships, even how we see reality, get totally reshaped by money. And he breaks this down into about three main things, all connected. First, money has this almost like magical ability to confound and invoke all things.
Right, to flip qualities into their opposites.
Exactly. It makes the ugly seem beautiful, the coward seem brave, the stupid seem wise. It turns reality upside down,
Yeah.
not just as a metaphor, but in how society actually perceives people.
You can probably think of examples. Someone not very nice, but, everyone admires them because they're incredibly wealthy.
Totally. Second, it acts as a universal mediator. Money becomes the thing you absolutely need to get what you want, or even to connect with other people.
Mm-hmm. It stands in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't relate directly to a person or an object or even your own desire. You relate through the money. It's like this required middleman for everything. And third, and this may be the most unsettling part, money starts out as something humans create, right?
Our invention.
But then it somehow becomes an alien power over us. We give it power, but then weirdly, it ends up dominating us, like an external, sometimes hostile force, almost like a god dictating our lives.
And that's such a critical point in understanding Marx. He's saying money isn't just an economic tool. It's a force that fundamentally reshapes how we experience things, how we perceive the world. It doesn't just help us buy stuff. It actually recodes our understanding of everything, our place in the world, our own value. Just think about it for a second. How has money maybe mediated your own relationships? Or perhaps subtly steered your desires, maybe shifting what you genuinely want towards what you can, afford.
That's a good question.
Yeah, this isn't just some dusty 19th century theory. It's about the real tangible effects money has on our lives every day. How we see ourselves, interact with others, measure success or failure.
Which brings us right to where Shakespeare enters the picture for Marx, and in such a big way. Like you said, Marx didn't just mention him offhand. He quotes Timon of Athens quite a bit in his third manuscript, specifically in the part he called The Power of Money in Bourgeois Society.
So the emerging capitalist world he saw.
Precisely. And he pulls directly from this speech Timon gives. Timon was this super generous lord, but he gets ruined, becomes this bitter outcast living in the woods, and then he finds buried gold.
A complete reversal.
Exactly. And it's in that moment of total personal flip that Shakespeare puts words in his mouth that Marx saw as perfectly capturing his own theory about society. Imagine Timon just railing against the world that betrayed him. He's holding this gold, and he says these lines, the ones Marx quotes. Gold, Yellow glittering precious gold. Thus much of this will make black white, foul fair, wrong right, base noble, old young, coward valiant.
Wow, powerful stuff.
It is, and he goes on. This yellow slave will knit and break religions, bless the accursed, make the whore leprosy adored, place thieves, and give them title, knee, and approbation with senators on the bench. And here's the kicker. This is where Marx makes that direct link between the literary and the literal. He explicitly says, and I'm quoting Marx now, Shakespeare excellently depicts the real nature of money.
So not just good writing, but accurate description.
That's how Marx saw it, not just clever poetry, not a metaphor. He saw it as a chillingly precise description of money's monstrous, distorting power in actual social life. Shakespeare's art, for Marx, became like a factual report on capital's corrupting influence.
Yeah, and the brilliance there is just the sheer power of Shakespeare's language, isn't it? It captures the raw feeling, the social reality of money in a way that, well, economic theory alone, no matter how smart, often struggles to get across. Marx, who was obviously a very systematic thinker, he understood that art could do something unique. It doesn't just reflect reality, it makes the human impact feel incredibly real, undeniable.
Makes it visceral.
Exactly. Shakespeare provides the human drama, the sort of living proof that backs up Marx's often quite stark philosophical points. It really shows how art can hold up a mirror and reveal truths about our material world, both the ugly and maybe the beautiful parts.
Building right on that, Marx then takes it even further. Right after quoting Timon, he comes up with this really potent phrase, money is the visible divinity.
Visible divinity.
Yeah, and also the transformation of all human and natural properties into their opposites. That idea of visible divinity is so key to his critique. Think about it. Unlike, say, abstract gods you have faith in, money's power is tangible. You can see it, touch it. You witness its godlike ability to transform things, to mediate things in everyday life.
It's right there in front of you.
Its power isn't about belief. It's empirically verifiable, right?
Right.
You see the doors it opens, the opportunities, the influence it buys, and the divinity part. That refers to its godlike powers, creation, transformation, mediation. It's the universal tool that makes things possible for individuals that were impossible before.
Right.
Like need to travel the world, money, need top-tier healthcare, money, want respect or influence in certain circles. Often, money. It seems to give a person this godlike agency, making the impossible possible, not because of who they are, but just because they have it.
So if money really functions like a visible god, what's the big implication there?
Well, it completely reorders what society values, doesn't it? It means that chasing money, accumulating this divinity, can easily become the #1 goal in a capitalist society. It pushes aside other values, spiritual, ethical, community values.
Look, it's sidelined.
Right, and what's more, it subtly but powerfully replaces real human connections. Your actual worth, your ability to be something or have something meaningful, it starts depending entirely on whether you can pay, not on your character, your skills, your actions.
Which leads right back to
what Marx calls the overturning of all individual and natural qualities. That core inversion that both Timon and Marx describe, it forces us to ask, how much of the value we assign to people, maybe even ourselves, is really tied to what we possess versus who we are. It's a quiet shift, but it's pervasive. It's a really startling idea. Pretty bleak, actually, when you think about it deeply. And this concept, money as a visible divinity, it directly leads into Marx's ideas about human alienation, self-loss even, especially through how money mediates and transforms our own abilities and desires. One of the starkest ways this happens is what he calls the alienation of human faculties. Marx argues money doesn't just buy you something, it actually replaces the human ability you'd normally need to get it or make it.
How so?
Well, if I have tons of money, I don't necessarily need to be smart or charming or strong or even kind to get what I want. The money does the work for me. Marx puts it so bluntly. I am brainless, but money is the real brain of all things. Your own skills, your natural qualities, they become kind of unnecessary. This external thing, money performs them for you.
A detachment from your own abilities.
A profound detachment. And this also leads to self-loss through inversion. Your authentic self, who you really are as a person, gets worn down, replaced by just a monetary value. What you are matters less or not at all. What you have is everything.
Like Timon.
Exactly. Timon's journey in the play is the perfect tragic example. His generous, open self is just obliterated, replaced by this bitter, hateful outcast. Once the money, the thing that mediated his whole identity, his friendships, his purpose, is gone. His identity was totally tied to his wealth. When it vanished, he vanished too, in a way.
And then there's the other piece, The perversion of desire. It's not just about getting what you already need. Money, for Marx, actually creates new needs, often artificial ones, and it twists or corrupts natural desires. He uses that really provocative phrase, calling it a universal pimp.
Yeah, mediating and corrupting relationships that should be direct, human things like love, friendship, art, turning them into transactions
A calculation, a quid pro quo.
where none should really exist.
Hmm?
I mean, think about aspects of modern life, maybe online dating, maybe crowdfunding. There's often this layer of economic calculation now mediating what we hope is direct human connection.
Yeah, and what's the tragic cost of that? Losing genuine connection, losing authentic self-worth to this external kind of manufactured force like money. It's a question that just echoes down the centuries, even more so maybe in our digital world.
And these effects on individuals, they don't stay contained, do they? They ripple outwards, really corrupting social relations when money takes on this godlike role. Our sources show how relations just become transactional. Real human connection, friendship, love, community support, it gets replaced by cold calculation, economic exchange.
Timon's friends again.
The perfect, brutal example. Their loyalty was completely dependent on his spending. The second the money dried up, so did their love. They weren't friends of Timon, they were friends of his cash.
Yeah.
Even more fundamentally, Marx argues that the very thing holding society together becomes the agent of its destruction. Money, weirdly, is the main glue initially in bourgeois society, the universal medium. But it's also like acid, slowly dissolving all the genuine older social bonds, family loyalty, honor, virtue, duty. These intrinsic ties get replaced by just one thing: cold cash payment.
Everything gets a price tag.
Everything becomes a commodity. Every relationship has an implicit price, which leads to what he calls universal confusion. Social roles, status, merit, they lose any natural or earned basis. It all becomes fluid, based purely on having money.
So a thief could be honored.
A thief honored with senators, a fool seen as wise just because they have money. Society starts being based on this chaotic alien power, not on human qualities, ethics, or real merit.
And if we pull back and look at the bigger picture here, it's clear Marx isn't just, complaining about things. It's a really deep diagnosis. For him, this complete alienation, this perversion of human life by money's power, it reveals the fundamental sickness of the capitalist system itself.
Right. It's a symptom of a deeper problem.
Exactly. And this diagnosis for Marx points directly towards the need for radical social change. A revolution, ultimately, that would get rid of, not money itself maybe, but the social conditions that give money this divine, alienating, destructive power. The fate of Timon starting generous, ending up this isolated misanthrope when his money's gone. Marx presents that as the tragic, maybe inevitable fate of any society that lets money become its god. The thing that mediates all human interaction, defines all human worth.
So Shakespeare really provides
The artistic proof, the emotional core, the vivid human drama that underpins Marx's colder philosophical conclusions about money's corrupting force.
So, what does this all mean for us today? Our deep dives, it's taken us on quite a journey, showing how Karl Marx looked back centuries to Shakespeare to find this powerful, visceral picture of how money shapes us, how it shapes our lives, our values, our relationships, often in ways we don't even fully realize. It's a stark reminder, isn't it, that these aren't just old academic debates, they're sharp observations about human experience that still hit home. Thanks for joining us on this pretty unique exploration through philosophy, economics, and classic literature.
And maybe this leaves you with an important question to mull over. Given how deeply money shapes our world, our perceptions, what truly defines value or worth for you today, beyond what can be bought or sold, maybe take a moment to reflect on what acts as the visible divinity in your own life and the social bonds it mediates, subtly or maybe not so subtly, influencing your interactions every day.